Are deadly shootouts the only solution to ending crime in KZN? Police there seem to think so as they notch up more fatalities. The Freedom Front Plus makes its case for an independent Western Cape. Buildings lifted and flung over in Taiwan's deadliest earthquake in decades. Hello, good to have you with us. I'm Jane Dutton.
This is Eyewitness News.
But first, Speaker of the National Assembly, Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqakula, has resigned. In a resignation letter, she says, "I've made this conscious decision in order to dedicate my time and focus to deal with the recently announced investigation against me by our country's law enforcement agencies. My resignation is in no way an indication or admission of guilt regarding the allegations being leveled against me." End of quote. She has said she's willing to hand herself over to the police for arrest over allegations of corruption and bribery. The question now is, when? Police have gunned down and killed 9 suspects allegedly linked to violent crime in Marion Hill, west of Durban. Residents there tell us they're relieved that they have been shot and killed. Community members living across the way from the crime scene say they're happy that finally they'll be free from the group's terror. But no formal charges had been laid against the men believed to be behind the crime spree.
We've been committing house robberies, armed robberies, rapes and murder. And by the time we pounced on them, we had positive intelligence that they were about to execute a hit on someone. And so far we have found 2 firearms, but we believe that there are more. The team is busy searching. We believe that we'll find more firearms.
The Mkhonto West Sizwe Party says there is no one other than Jacob Zuma for president, that he is the only man to lead the country. Nhlamolo Ndlela, national spokesperson for the MK party, tells EWN they don't consider anyone else and will make sure Zuma succeeds despite the legal obstacles. Yesterday, the MK party filed their appeal with the Electoral Court over its disqualification of Zuma as a candidate in the elections. The legal route is unlikely to work in the party's favour.
It's the people that wanted President Zuma to lead this country, and we listen to the people. So it's not a membership or leaders of MK having made that decision. So it's not a desperation act. It's just the reality of the situation on the ground by the downtrodden people. There's a number of factors that ought to be taken into consideration regarding our appeal, which I won't go into the legalities. However, there is obviously the issue of the remission, of which we know in terms of the act it refers to 12 months imprisonment without the option of a fine. In this case, by virtue of the remission, it means President Zuma would have served only 3 months, and then therefore his sentence is 3 months, which then in effect means that the 12 months does not apply in his case.
I think that is a fatal misunderstanding of the correct legal position. The fact that you get remission or even that you get medical parole doesn't mean that the sentence in its original sense does not exist. That is the result of other interventions, but it doesn't take away what the original sentence is. So my take on it is that I will be surprised if the election court will favorably look at that argument.
MK senior leader Disvin Reddy appeared in the Chatsworth Magistrates Court today on charges of inciting public violence. His appearance follows inflammatory remarks made during an MK rally in KwaZulu-Natal, promising anarchy and riots if the party was removed from the ballot. The matter was transferred to the 14th of June 2024. And if you see this image, you're too close. That coming up, but first, setting up the case for the Western Cape breaking away from the rest of the country. Freedom Front Plus Chief Whip Corne Mulder, the party's premier candidate for the province, says a referendum could be held to test the desire for secession.
The people of the Western Cape has never democratically elected the ANC as government in this province. We have been ruled despite the fact that they've never voted for the ANC. So it's difficult to say exactly where that will go. But we need to start at the beginning. And if there is no real traction or no real support, then a referendum will clearly indicate that.
The South African National Defence Force has denied claims that 2 of its members surrendered to M23 rebels in Democratic Republic of Congo. The SANDF was responding to international reports that the deployment to DRC was part of a, quote, ill-equipped and ill-prepared force which surrendered to the rebels this past week. And the Democratic Alliance has also called for the Joint Standing Committee on Defence to reconvene to consider what it calls troubling reports of a, quote, operational crisis unfolding in the DRC deployment. This is the moment a 7.4 magnitude earthquake hit Taiwan, the biggest in 25 years. At least 9 people were killed and more than 800 injured in the powerful quake, which unleashed multiple landslides in the mountainous east of the country. It also prompted tsunami warnings that extended to Japan and the Philippines before being lifted. Officials warn of more tremors in the days ahead. The National Fire Agency said all the deaths occurred in the Hualien County. If you see this image, you're too close and will probably be stuck in horrendous traffic for hours. The city of Cape Town is urging drivers to plan their routes to and from the CBD as the cruise ship MSC Splendida makes its way back to Table Bay Harbour today. Last week, the cruise ship's arrival caused heavy traffic in and around the city as motorists made their way to the cruise terminal to drop off and fetch passengers.
To ensure smooth and hassle-free travel, I encourage residents to consider using the MyCity bus service, ride-sharing and alternative routes into town. Travelling early can also significantly alleviate congestion.
And we end with some good news. A ministerial report supports the ultimate closure of the captive lion industry in South Africa. You can get more on that story and everything that's in the news by downloading the Prime Media Plus app or the EWN app. See you again tomorrow.
Eyewitness News. In touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, log on to ewn.co.za or ewn.mobi.